Be me, 27-year-old feminist, working as marketing specialist at tech company, making 68K good salary, decent benefits, been there for 2 years now. Work with team of 8 people, mix of men and women. Always been passionate about social justice and calling out problematic behavior. See myself as someone who stands up for what's right workplace. Notice that most of my coworkers don't really understand microaggressions, or they make small comments that I find offensive or problematic daily. Decide it's my responsibility to educate them and report when necessary. Tell myself that someone has to hold people accountable for their words. New guy named Tom starts on our team, senior marketer, making more. He's 32 years old, came from bigger company, has lots of experience. Seems friendly enough, but I notice problematic things he says immediately first. On his second day, he compliments female coworker on her presentation, said, "Tell him, after meeting, that commenting on woman's appearance is inappropriate workplace." He looks confused and says he complimented her presentation, not appearance. Tell him the way he said it had undertones of surprise, typical. He apologizes and says he didn't mean it that way at all. But I can tell he's just saying that to avoid conflict, not learning. Decide to keep close eye on him and document everything he does. Week later in team meeting, Tom suggests we target ads to women. Says something about how women make most household purchasing decisions, statistically true. Feel my blood boil because he's reinforcing gender stereotypes about women. Speak up and say, "That's sexist assumption, not all women are." He says he's just citing market research data about consumer behavior patterns. Tell him that using data to justify stereotypes is still problematic regardless. Other coworkers look uncomfortable, but don't say anything, supporting me or him. Manager says, "Let's move on and we can discuss targeting strategy later." After meeting, I email HR about the incident, describing it as microaggression. They respond saying they'll look into it and talk to Tom eventually. Tom starts being more quiet in meetings. After that, barely speaks up. Notice he avoids eye contact with me and keeps interactions minimal, professional. Tell myself, that's what happens when you make people uncomfortable calling. But other coworkers start acting weird around me too. Being more careful, realize they're all walking on eggshells, scared to say anything around me. Feel vindicated because it means they know I'm watching, holding them accountable. My coworker Jessica makes comment about being tired from staying up with. She says something about mother's intuition, knowing when baby is sick, needed. Immediately tell her that reinforces stereotypes about women as natural caregivers. She looks hurt and says she was just talking about her experience. Tell her that personal experience doesn't excuse perpetuating gender roles. Society. She goes quiet and doesn't talk to me, rest of day clearly upset. Start documenting every problematic thing anyone says in shared workplace doc. Write down when male coworker talks over female coworker in meeting interruption. Note when someone makes assumption about someone's background based on appearance. Document when anyone uses gendered language like guys when addressing group. Keep detailed log with dates, times, and exact quotes of everything said. Plan to submit comprehensive report to HR about hostile environment workplace. Tell my feminist friends online about what I'm doing. They're supportive. They say someone needs to hold these people accountable. Good for you. Feel empowered that I'm making difference even if coworkers don't appreciate. Month later, Tom brings donuts for team, says his wife made them. He mentions she loves baking and made extra to share with office. Immediately speak up and say it's problematic to mention wife baking reinforces. He looks exhausted and says he was just trying to do something nice. Tell him intent doesn't matter. Impact matters, and impact is perpetuating stereotypes. He says, forget it. I won't bring anything again, and takes donuts back. Other coworkers look disappointed they wanted donuts, but say nothing to me. Later that day, Jessica tells me I'm being too harsh on everyone. Tell her that's tone policing, and she's part of the problem too. She walks away shaking her head, clearly doesn't understand what I'm doing. HR calls me in for meeting about the multiple reports I've filed. There are now 7 different reports about various coworkers over 2 months. HR rep asks me to explain what's been happening and why reports. Tell them that workplace is filled with microaggressions and problematic behavior daily. Explain that I'm just trying to create safe, inclusive environment for everyone. They ask for specific examples of hostile behavior I've experienced personally. Realize most of my reports are about things other people said to others. Tell them that bystanders have responsibility to call out problematic behavior too. They say they appreciate my concern, but need to investigate all claims. Leave feeling good that HR is finally taking workplace culture seriously. Week later, get called back to HR, but this time, manager there. They tell me they've completed investigation into my report's findings. Say that they interviewed all team members about workplace environment culture. Tell me that 7 out of 8 team members reported feeling uncomfortable around me because I constantly criticize and correct their language speech. They say multiple people mentioned they avoid talking around me entirely now. Show me statements from coworkers saying they feel like walking on eggshells. Tom's statement says he's afraid to speak in meetings because I'll report. Jessica's statement says, I make her feel stupid for talking about experiences, feel shocked and defensive, tell them that's because I'm holding them accountable. Say that, of course, people uncomfortable with change feel attacked when challenged. Explain that this is typical reaction when someone calls out problematic behavior. HR rep says that creating environment where people afraid to speak problem tells me that several coworkers have requested to transfer teams away from. Manager says team productivity has dropped significantly since I started reporting. Mentions that Tom tried to quit, but they convinced him stay different. They show me results of anonymous team survey about workplace environment feelings. 7 people said they don't feel safe expressing themselves around me anymore. Realize this meeting isn't about my reports. It's about me being problem. Try to defend myself. Say I was just trying to make workplace better. Tell them that discomfort is necessary, part of growth and learning process. HR rep says there's difference between education and harassment what you're doing. Shows me company policy about hostile work environment and respectful workplace. Points out that I've violated several policies about respectful communication treatment. Tells me that constantly criticizing and correcting coworkers creates hostile environment legally. Manager says that my behavior has damaged team cohesion and morale significantly. Mentions that I've made it impossible for people to work together effectively. They tell me that after investigation they've decided to terminate my employment. Feel the room spin, can't believe they're firing me for standing up. Tell them this is retaliation for whistleblowing about discrimination in workplace. HR rep says it's not retaliation. It's consequence of your behavior pattern. Shows me documentation of every complaint filed against me by coworkers, numerous. There are complaints about me from 6 different people over past months. They describe me as judgmental, condescending, hostile, and impossible to work around. One complaint says I made her cry after criticizing her for gendered. Another says I reported him for microaggression when he said bless you. Realize that everyone on team has complained about me except me, nobody. They give me option to resign or be terminated for cause. Decide to resign to avoid termination on record, but feel betrayed. Pack up my desk while team is at lunch, don't want face. Leave building feeling angry and confused about what just happened to. Tell myself that I was right and they were wrong company. Post on social media about being fired for calling out discrimination workplace. Get supportive comments from online friends saying, company is toxic clearly. They tell me to sue for wrongful termination and retaliation. This injustice. Spend days researching lawyers and building case against former employer company. Consultation with 3 different lawyers who all say same thing basically. Tell me that I don't have case because I created hostile environment. Explain that constantly reporting coworkers for minor language issues isn't protected. Month later, still unemployed, applying to jobs in my field marketing. Getting interviews, but something always goes wrong, in process never hired. One interviewer asks about why I left last job, and I explain. Tell them about how I was fired for standing up against microaggressions. Interviewer's face changes, and they end interview shortly after that suddenly. Realize that they probably think I'll be problem employee who reports. Start lying about why I left, say it was layoffs, not termination. But references from former company are probably telling truth about me. Feel stuck because I can't get hired anywhere in my city. Realize my reputation in local marketing community is probably destroyed now. 2 months unemployed and running low on savings, getting desperate now. See on LinkedIn that Tom got promoted to marketing director at company. He's leading the team now, and they just hired 2 new people. See posts from former coworkers congratulating him, saying he deserves it earned. Jessica comments about how great it is working under his leadership supportive. Realize that the person I tried to get fired is now thriving, while I can't even get entry-level job anywhere in industry field. Check company website and see they won Employee Culture Award recently received. Article quotes Tom talking about creating inclusive environment where people feel safe. Mentions that team has highest satisfaction. Scores and company now happy. Start working retail job just to pay bills while looking for marketing. Making $15 an hour after making $68K. Year ago, huge downgrade. Coworkers at retail job are nice, but I catch myself wanting to stop myself because I know that's what got me fired before already. Realize I need to change my behavior or I'll get fired here. Try to just do my job and not correct anyone's language ever. It's hard because I notice problematic things people say all time, but I bite my tongue and say nothing at all anymore. Wonder if this is what it feels like for everyone around me. Understand now why my former coworkers avoided talking to me completely. 3 months later, and former coworker reaches out to me coffee. It's Jessica, and she says she wants to talk about happened. Meet at coffee shop nervous about what she's going to say. She tells me that team is doing much better since I left. Says that Tom is great leader who actually listens to people. Mentions that they have productive conversations about inclusive language now successfully. But the difference is, Tom educates without making people feel attacked. She says you made everyone feel stupid and scared all time. Tells me that people wanted to learn, but your approach was hostile. Realize I was so focused on being right that forgot effective. Jessica tells me she understands what I was trying to do. Says that she agrees with a lot of points I made, but my delivery and constant reporting made it impossible to hear. Tells me that I treated coworkers like enemies, not people learning. Mentions that Tom actually implemented several changes I suggested originally earlier, but he did it by working with people not against them. Says the team now has inclusive language guide they all helped create. Mentions they do quarterly training on bias that everyone actually engages. Realized that everything I wanted happened after I left without me. Tom achieved what I couldn't because he didn't make it war. Ask Jessica why she's telling me this all now after months. She says because she doesn't want me to keep making mistake. Tells me that she saw my LinkedIn post about being fired wrongly. Says that my version of story isn't what actually happened. Mentions that I wasn't fired for standing up. I was fired behavior. Tells me until I understand that I won't be able to move. Says she hopes I can learn from this and find better way. Thanks me for coffee and leaves while I sit there processing. Realize she's right about everything and I was completely wrong approach. Understand now that I was an ally. I was bully with righteous. 6 months later, finally get marketing job at smaller company, lower pay. Making $52K, now significant pay cut. But I need work desperately. First day I notice coworker makes comment that I would have reported. Stop myself and breathe and say nothing about it at all. Remind myself that my job is to do marketing, not police. Focus on my actual work and building relationships with coworkers instead. When someone says something I disagree with, I let it go. Realize that not everything needs to be called out immediately confronted. People respond better to me because I'm not constantly attacking them. Learn that choosing battles carefully is more effective than fighting everything. Year later, and I'm doing okay at new job. Still there. Haven't reported anyone for anything, just focused on work relationships. Coworkers seem to like me, or at least don't avoid me. See Tom's team won another award for Best Workplace Culture Company. He posts about importance of creating safe space where people feel. Realize that's exactly what I failed to do at previous job. I made people feel unsafe by constantly judging and reporting them. Tom made people feel safe by listening and educating without attacking. Understand now that I became the hostile work environment I thought. Learned that being right doesn't matter if your approach makes enemies. Still believe in calling out discrimination and problematic behavior when serious. But I've learned to pick battles and approach with empathy. Realize that most people aren't trying to be offensive, they're learning. Treating them like enemies guaranteed they won't listen to anything. My approach at old job was self-righteous and counterproductive completely. Got myself fired and destroyed. Reputation over microaggressions, while Tom, who I reported is now successful leader, creating actual change workplace. Tell myself I was trying to help, but really I was problem. Now I'm cautionary tale about how not to be ally activism. Learn that you can't bully people into being better humans.